Hi team, today we're going over lesson 7.1, understanding likelihood and probability. So to start off, we got some definitions here. So our first definition is the outcome. The outcome is all the different results that are possible in our experiment. The probability is the chance of each outcome has of happening. So for example, if we're flipping a coin, then the probability that you will land on heads will be 1 out of 2. Also, if we're thinking about rolling a dice, the probability of landing on any of the numbers would be 1 out of 6. Anything so on and so forth about that. But basically, the probability is the chance you have of something happening, and the outcomes is all of the possible results that could happen. All right, so here's our key concept. The key concept is the probability is something that will occur with a value from 0 to 1, which describes its likelihood. So probability can be written as a ratio, like 1 out of 2, a fraction, like 1/2, or a percent, like 50%. So all three of those are equal there. 1 out of 2, 1/2, and 50% are all equal probabilities. So now we have different items that we could use for probability. So for starters, there's a dice. A dice has 6 sides. Hopefully you're all familiar with that. Then we have a spinner. Think about like a spinner on a game board, right? And it has like 6 colors on it or something like that. Normally the problem will tell you how many colors it has. That will be how many possible outcomes you have. So the textbook's also going to refer to stuff as a number cube. So what a number cube is it's just a dice. It's the exact same thing. There's no differences between them. Just for some reason, the text wants to refer to them as number cubes and not dice. Also, we'll have something like marbles being pulled out of a bag or something being pulled out of a bag. Again, it'll tell you how many marbles you have there, but that's a scenario they have that will use probability. And then finally, a deck of cards. So a deck of cards has 54 cards total, and each suit will have 13 cards. So that's like spades, hearts, clubs, and diamonds. There's 13 of each with a total of 54. So let's get into some examples here. So a spinner has 8 equal sections. 3 sides are green, 2 sides are blue, 1 side is pink, and 2 sides are orange. Now we want to find out the probability of what we are going to be landing on. So for starters, the probability it will land on green. Well, for all of these, there's 8 equal sections, right? So that means all of these numbers are going to be out of 8. All these numbers are out of 8 here, right? So now if we want to find the probability or land on green, we'll look how many green sides we have. We have 3 green sides, so that means we have a 3 out of 8 probability it will land on green. And we can look at 2 blue sides, so we have a 2 out of 8 probability it will land on blue, a 1 out of 8 it will land on pink, and a 2 out of 8 it will land on orange. Now with blue and orange, we see we could simplify here a little bit. So we're going to change these to 1 out of 4, just simplifying it down. All right, so a box contains 4 equal size cards labeled 1, 3, 5, and 7. So what is the probability Tim will select a card labeled 4? So the probability Tim will select a card labeled 4. Well, let's look at all our options here, right? We have 1, 3, 5, and 7. So none of the cards are labeled 4. So there's a 0% chance we're going to pull a card labeled 4. Now, how about a card that is less than 6? Well, what numbers are less than 6 here? We have 1, 3, and 5. Those are all less than 6. So that means we have a 3 out of 4 chance of pulling a card less than 6. And then finally, what is the probability Tim will select a card with an odd number? Well, 1 is odd, 3 is odd, 5 is odd, and 7 is odd. So we have a 4 out of 4 chance. You could also write that as a 100% chance that we will pull an odd card. I want you guys to go ahead and pause and make sure we got this all written down, but I'll go on to the next slide here. So there's 7 marbles in a bag. 3 are yellow, 2 are red, and 2 are blue. So is there a higher chance we will pull a yellow marble or a red marble? Let's look what we got here. So we have 7 marbles. So what's the chance we're going to pull a yellow marble? Well, yellow, we have 3 out of 7, right? Because there's 3 yellow marbles out of our total 7. Now let's look at the red marble. So we have 2 are red. So that means we have a 2 out of 7 chance of pulling a red marble. And let's look at our fractions here. Which one of these is greater? So 3/7 is greater than 2/7, which means we have a greater chance of yellow, right? And if we want to look back at our original problem, that makes sense because we had 3 yellow marbles, whereas the other 2 we only had 2. Now, is there a higher chance that we will choose a blue marble or a red marble? So we already said that red marbles have 2 out of 7, and then also blue marbles have 2 out of 7. So these 2 fractions here are equal, right? 2/7 is equal to 2/7. So that means we have an equal chance of both. Again, I want you guys to pause, make sure you got this all written down before we go on to the next slide here. All right, so here's our conclusion. So today we talked about probability and outcome. Those were our 2 definitions, right? The outcome was the total amount of events we have possible, and the probability is the chance of each of a certain event happening. So we solved examples using probability. Think about the marble example, the spinner example, and then we also learned about different types of tools to measure probability, right? So a dice, a number cube, same thing. We had a spinner, we had a deck of cards, and then we had like a bag of marbles pulling something out. All of those are going to be pretty frequent examples you see, so I hope you guys are going to get comfortable using those. Other than that, that's the rest of our slideshow here. So that was lesson 7.1. I hope you're all able to get the notes down on that and going to be able to answer